Welcome back to Slothbox. I'm Lyndon Dixons, and this video is brought to you by Excelsior Sports Club. But today we're joined by Dev Sahni. Dev, how are you, mate?
I'm good. I'm good, Lyndon. Nice to speak to you for the
Yeah,
first time, and congrats on the sponsor, and congrats on Slothbox. Well done, guys.
nice one. Thank you, mate. But before we get into it, before we get into all the nitty gritty of boxing, I want to ask you, how did you get into like boxing and working for Queensberry and stuff like that?
Well, it's quite mad, really. I was just a big boxing fan, right? Loved boxing, absolutely loved it. I was on all the forums. I was listening to all the podcasts, like just loved it. Obviously, watched all the fights as well. And I was working in online marketing, and I was bored. And I sent my CV to Box Nation one day. Remember Box Nation, don't
Yeah,
you? Yeah. So I was obviously a subscriber of Box Nation since it started.
Mm.
I had Setanta before that, Bunce's Boxing Hour, and all of that. I just absolutely loved it. Couldn't get enough. And I just sent them my CV one day, and it was a good CV in terms of the way it looked. It wasn't just a piece of A4 with writing on it, and it was good. It looked like a YouTube homepage, right? So
Nice,
with that, it was like, instead of like the video, it was a picture of me pointing at all of my great attributes. And
nice.
then and then it had like a hire me button. So it's the sort of one you'd have a second look
Yeah,
at it,
yeah.
right? And clearly they had a second look, and about 6 months later, they said, "We've got a job. It's like a digital manager job. It would be to do with, looking after the app, looking after the website and stuff like that, sort of stuff that I was capable of doing. Some of it
Mm.
I wasn't capable of doing. I hadn't done anything like it before, but I figured it out once I got there. And yeah, eventually, after a couple of interviews, I got the job. And that was to be the digital manager of Box Nation and help people subscribe on the website and all stuff like that. And because these are small companies, right? Same as Queensberry,
Mm.
not a massive amount of staff. And with that, you can just wear many hats. And I ended up just doing all sorts of stuff. I was offered plenty of hats. And I was just like, let's put that one on.
Mm.
Let's try that one on. That one doesn't fit. Have that one
Yeah,
back, but I'll have
yeah,
that
yeah.
one,
Mm.
So, no,
Mm.
that's basically it, mate. I'm just a boxing fan who sent his CV in one day and sort of blagged his way into a job, and then has said yes to pretty much every opportunity that's come my way so far,
Mm.
and I'm loving it.
Mate, you're smashing it. But
I'm trying, mate. I'm
yeah, you
trying.
are, you are. But let's get into boxing and Queensberry specifically. Your man Joe Joyce fought well and lost to Zhilei Zhang a few weeks back now, but I think from some of Zhang's comments, the rematch is on. The rematch clause has been activated, if I'm correct.
I don't know.
Yeah,
I
and
don't
that's the
know,
thing.
to be
It's
honest.
a bit up in the
Right.
air. But do you think that's the right move for Joe to go straight back into that rematch with Zhilei Zhang?
It's a tough one, right? Because
Mm.
he was in a tremendous position. He was the mandatory for Alexander Usyk. He would get his shot at the world title. That was undeniable. And if Usyk or whoever was the champion didn't want to fight him, he'd get, as his interim champion, he'd just get upgraded to world
Mhm.
champion. Tremendous position to be in. And by giving Zhang the opportunity to become interim champion, he had a rematch clause within that, and he gets that rematch clause, so he gets the chance to get his title back. Should he do it again? If you want to, I'm not sure what his other routes are to getting mandatory. I
Mm.
don't know. I don't know. He needs to make adjustments. He needs to come in heavier. He needs to spend a whole camp with some very, very good southpaws, the likes of Jalalov, people like that who he might be a little bit fearful of in terms of what's coming back. Not
Mm.
just guys, I don't know, but he needs to get the prep right, needs to come in heavier, needs some proper southpaw sparring, and then maybe that's enough to overcome Zhang. But there's no guarantee. Zhang proved that that he may just be the guy that can beat Joe Joyce. He
Mm.
may be that person, 6'6", southpaw, fast hands, looks Joe Joyce square in the eye. Not many heavyweights can do that. He might be the guy, but you'd back Joe Joyce to be able to figure it out.
Mm.
And I think they can come up with a game plan. Is it the right step? Honestly, I don't know. It's going to be up to Joe Joyce and his team. I guess it depends what else is on the table? If there's more lucrative fights, do you go with that and lose your mandatory position? I don't know. You'd have to see.
But with Joyce, a thing that I've been thinking about a lot because I'm a big fan of Joyce, but his thing in the division is he's got the best chin in the division. But as a boxing fan, I'm sure you'll know that doesn't last forever. But with Zhilei Zhang, with that fight, I feel like are we maybe seeing that now that that chin, the durability of that chin, is starting to wear away, or do you think it was just a bad night for Joyce?
Well, look, the chin didn't go. You know, he didn't get dropped. He wasn't staggering all around the ring. There was one moment in there
Yeah.
where I think there was a bit of a push in there as well, where he ended up in his corner facing away from Zhang. That was a moment where you don't often see Joe Joyce in a position like that. But the chin for me remains in check. The chin didn't break. It was the skin that broke, really. It was the eye, you know, and I guess it shows that you can have the best chin in the world, but which Joe Joyce still has, in my opinion, by the way. But if someone keeps punching you in the eye and they hit the right angle and they do something and it starts swelling up, there's nothing you can do. So yeah, I mean, look, he's going to have to make some adjustments for the rematch. He's going to have to ensure that he gets punched less in the face. You know, that he's kind of ready for that. But I'm hoping, you know, a bigger, thicker Joe Joyce and, you know, a good camp full of taking this guy as an absolute killer and perhaps not, you know, in the build up to this fight, right? Everyone was talking about everyone else. You know, it happens in the same way in the Joshua Franklin build up. Everyone was asking Joshua about Fury, about Joyce, because it's not a destination fight, right? Joshua Franklin, not a destination fight. Joyce saying not a destination fight. So you get asked about other fights. There's a chance maybe he got distracted by that, too much other stuff, and then maybe you end up taking this guy who's come over here. He's, you know, he's playing the game. He's saying chat shit, get zanged. He's a bit of a funny guy. He's making everyone laugh at pressers. You're taking him maybe a little bit for granted there, but he won't do that in the rematch. He'll know he's got an absolute killer in front of him who's got his number in the first fight. He has his number. So, yeah, I think he'd take him a lot more seriously in the rematch.
Moving on from Joyce and just looking at Queensberry's stable, I think it looks great at the minute. And there's a lot
I
of...
agree with you, Lyndon. Yeah. I agree. Doesn't it?
It does look great. I mean, if you look, there's some great champions in there, both at world and domestic level. And then some, I think Queensberry's generally got some of the best prospects coming through in the country. What do you think of the stable at the minute? Just talk me through it. Like, who are you excited to see?
But I love all of them. I think they're all great. But you know, I think we've got a great mix of sort of everything, right? At the very, very top of it all, the cherry on the cake, you know, the king is Tyson Fury, right? The number one heavyweight in the world. What a position to be in where you've got that guy in your stable. And then you've got Joe Joyce. You know, then you've got Zhilei Zhang. Then you've got Daniel Dubois, who's mandatory. Anthony Yarde at light heavyweight. It's tremendous. Just below that, you start going, you know, your Denzel Bentley's, who's British middleweight champion, who gave Janibek the hardest fight Janibek's had. And I reckon if he got hold of Janibek again, he'd give him an even harder fight because he knows now. You've got Hamza Shiraz. You've got guys like this. Liam Davis. I could go on and on. Liam Davis, unbeaten British European champion. The geezer's like, he needs a bit more love. He's like definitely lighting up Telford, and you know, he should be fighting Jason Cunningham next. This is what the rumours that I keep hearing. And that will be a great fight as well. I think we've got a great stable, and it's like the kids coming through. Frank seems to get hold of these fighters who haven't like gone to the Olympics, right? But they've done tremendous stuff as amateurs. At sort of junior level, like Dennis McCann, right? He's going to be an absolute superstar. He's knocking on the door already. But Moses Italma, that was a hell of a coup.
Yeah,
getting hold of him, like he's a southpaw. He's been having fun in the gyms with some of these, you know, the heavyweights that you've heard of. He's in the gyms with them. They all speak very, very well of him, and he could go all the way, and he wants to go all the way in record time. So it's amazing stable.
The man you spent some time with yesterday, I mean, in your words, Liverpool's answer to Tank Davis.
Yes,
Nick Ball, he's one of my favourites at Queensberry at the minute.
Same.
How far do you think he can go?
He can go as far as he wants to go, and I know that he wants to go very, very far because, like, there's no like he's obviously a very talented fighter. He's 17-0. He's beaten everyone and he's bulldozing everyone at the moment. He's on a bit of a run of like consecutive stoppages. And he, like, you post something about him on social media, the numbers are tremendous. So his popularity is really, really rising. He can go very, very far. He's got a style that not many featherweights have. You don't see many 5'2" featherweights who come in under everyone, been fighting everyone bigger than him for their whole life, and know exactly what to do against these guys. So he's going to be a real problem. It's just look, we will find out more in the next fight. The next fight is not an easy fight against the South African on the May 27th Conlon show. But I think that you could be in a position where on that night, May 27th, you've got 2 featherweight world title fights, Conlon Lopez and Lara Wood. And I think Nick Ball's going to make such an impression that people are going to be saying, I want to see Nick Ball in with these guys.
Yeah, definitely.
And I think that's what's going to happen May 27th. But he can go all the way, mate, for sure.
Moving on from Queensberry, I'm sorry about that, but let's talk about the rest of the. Yeah, let's talk about the rest.
Didn't agree to this.
Let's talk about the rest of the boxing scene. I mean, the big rumor anyway, on everyone's lips is that heavyweight tournament in Saudi Arabia with Fury, Usyk, then Joshua Wilder. First of all, are you a fan of it? And 2, do you think we're going to see it happen?
It's just heavyweight rumors, isn't it?
I know.
I know. Like, surely you're the same as me on this. Like, I'm just exhausted. I'm tired, Lyndon. I'm tired. Yeah, I want to see actual fights. I want to see fight posters. I want to see announcements. I want to see press conferences, preferably with me hosting them.
Yeah, exactly.
But I want to see
all
of this stuff. I want to see all of this stuff going on. I just can't. Right now, I'm so like bitten and shy from getting excited about fights in the past that I just can't bring myself to get excited about this. So I'm not going to. I can't. Look, the fights are great fights. The whole thing sounds like a big fantasy, but money talks. But I don't know. It's too good to be true? Probably. But let's see. People are obviously talking, but I feel like there's a long way to go. But I'll only get excited once they're in the ring, to be honest.
Yeah. A big fight that's on every UK fan's lips, and it's Fury Joshua. I feel like we've been talking about that for as long as I can remember anyway. But do you feel like a tournament like the Saudi one, if it happens, and that's a massive if, but do you feel like something like that's the only way we're going to see Fury Joshua? Because like you said then, money talks, and if it is a tournament format, then it sort of has to happen if they sign up. Do you feel like that's the only way we're going to see it?
No, I don't think so. I don't think there needs to be reliance on a heavyweight tournament in order to pit the best against the best. And Fury and Joshua have been kind of will they, won't they for many years, and I think it's inevitable that it will happen. I think the promoters are on good terms now. It feels like George Warren and Eddie Hearn in particular seem to have a good relationship. I think there would be a will for it to happen. Like both of them would probably want it now at this point, because AJ's kind of like, what else are you going to do? I mean, you're kind of running out of things to do. It feels like it will happen. I don't know if a tournament setting is the place that it has to happen. Maybe it can happen at some other point outside of that. Who knows?
I mean, moving on from the heavyweight scene, there's a big fight this weekend, and it's Canelo is making his homecoming against our very own John Ryder. I mean, obviously everyone's going to write John Ryder off, but still I'm rooting for him. I'm excited for John Ryder because it's a massive opportunity for him. I feel like I know what you're going to say, but how do you see it going this weekend in Guadalajara?
I'm a big John Ryder fan. Obviously, I got to know him around the Zach Parker fight. Obviously, it was a Queensberry fight, so I got to interview him, spend a bit of time around him, have him sort of stick it on me after the press conference. There's quite an amusing moment there, but I like him. I think he's really one of the good guys in boxing. You'd have to make Canelo a favourite. Every single odds, or all the odds are stacked against John Ryder here. Like, big time. He's going to Canelo's backyard. He's fighting Canelo, right? It's not easy. What can he do that others can't? He's sort of similar size, build to Canelo as well. He's going to stick it on him. He's a southpaw. That might cause some sort of trouble for Canelo. But yeah, look, he's got it up against him. But I absolutely would love him to win because it's a great story, and sometimes you need moments in boxing to just sort of shake everything up.
Definitely.
John Ryder beats Canelo Alvarez. That shakes up the whole world. You know, there'll be street parties in Islington if he's able to do that. You know, it's huge, and I really hope he can do it. And look, I don't think he's one of these fighters that'll go in there and just sort of like be happy, be content to come second, because we've seen that with so many Canelo opponents, and they feel something they don't like, they tuck up, and that's it. Oh, let me just see if I can stick around till the end of the fight. Or they even start talking to Canelo during. I mean, Caleb Plant done this. You know, I like Caleb Plant, but he started like sort of asking Canelo for a review of his skills during the fight. Like, I'm quite good, aren't I? John Ryder ain't going to be asking Canelo if he's any good. No, like he knows he's good, right? And he's a gorilla. So look, I think he'll stick it on him, and hopefully he can get it done. Fingers crossed.
The next topic that I've got here is the Marmite of boxing at the minute, and that's influencer boxing. But in the influencer scene, I feel like we've got some big fights coming up in terms of KSI, Joe Fournier, then Jake Paul and Nate Diaz. But a question that's been going through my mind: if KSI loses to Fournier and Paul loses to Diaz, is that the end for influencer boxing, in your opinion?
I don't know. I don't know. It's not going to be here forever.
Yeah, and that's the thing. I feel like it's got a shelf life, and if that happens, does it just bring that shelf life right here, right to now?
Yeah, I mean, KSI losing to Fournier, that might happen. Fournier's like actually boxing. I think he had like a WBA ranking at some point. And Jake Paul, Nate Diaz. If Jake Paul loses to Nate Diaz, yeah, look, it won't be a great look, because then Jake Paul's lost to the sort of guys that he's been specifically targeting. So if he loses to one of them, it's like, what do? You do it again? Well, I don't know. I think it would be quite damaging for influencer boxing. I think you're right. If those two scenarios unfolded, it would be damaging, because who are the other guys? Like, I don't know. Like, there's the Salt Pappy fella. He seems to be quite good, doesn't he? I don't follow it that closely, but yeah.
Me neither.
Yeah.
But
I mean, I just know it won't be around forever. So like people like Tommy Fury who can sort of make their money while it's here should do so. And anyone that sort of gets dragged in and could make a few quid, just do it, because it won't be here forever. Although, haven't they got a 5-year deal with DAZN?
Yes, I think they do. Yeah.
So it may well be. Like, you know, scratch all of that. It's going to be around forever. It doesn't matter who wins. Right? It'll probably be like Jake Paul's son's fighting or something. I don't know. Let's see.
Well, mate, it's been a pleasure speaking. But the last question from me, I'd say you're one of the many faces of Queensberry. But as one of those many faces, what do you hope to see for Queensberry and its fighters come the end of the year? Where do you think we will be in terms of a boxing landscape at Queensberry?
Look, I think hopefully we get Tyson Fury fighting again soon. And you know, that's just a great thing to see. You know, maybe in a stadium or something like that, and you can get good fights on the undercard. But aside from Tyson Fury, I just want to see some good fights, and I think we're gonna see some good fights. You know, we've got plenty of great fighters in the stable. I want to see Anthony Yard active again. There's been talks about this Joe Smith fight. What a tear up that would be if that gets. Yeah, if that gets made, that's brilliant. I want to see Dubois get a shot at Usyk, which looks like everything's going to happen there. So hopefully that happens. You know, you could be in a position where Daniel Dubois becomes the unified world heavyweight champion, and then you got all the belts. And then you got Tyson with one and Dubois with three. Joe Joyce coming back, beating Zhang, or Zhang beats him. You know, I don't know. I just think there's going to be a lot of good nights. We've had a good year so far. We've had some good nights so far. Like even going back to December last year Tyson Fury fighting in a stadium twice. You know, White and then Chisora. I know Chisora wasn't the guy that everyone wanted in the opposite corner, but it still did like 60,000 tickets and that, and Tyson needed to fight, and then starting this year off with Yard against Beterbiev, like I think we've had some great nights, and there's a real momentum around Queensberry. There's a lot of talented boxers on the roster, and yeah, looking forward to it.
Well, mate, it's been a pleasure speaking to you, Dev, for the first time. Hopefully not the last. But yeah,
hopefully not.
I've been Lyndon Dixon.
Yeah, just cut out all the influencer stuff.
Yeah,
I mean,
just
they're
get rid
around
of that
forever, mate.
Yeah. Well, mate, I've been Lyndon Dixon. He's been Dev Sahni, and we'll see you on the next one.
See you later.